My wife got pregnant, even though I'm infertile. When I questioned it, she hit me with, maybe if you had real faith, you'd stop questioning God's gifts. So I exposed her and ruined her life. Sup Reddit. So my wife got sick Christmas Eve night. I dragged her to urgent care the next morning thinking it was food poisoning or something. The nurse comes back grinning like we just won the lottery and congratulates us. She's pregnant. Only problem? I'm medically infertile. So yeah, I started digging and found out the truth. I, 31 male, have been married to Mallory, 30 female, for 5 years. 5 genuinely good years, where I actually thought I'd won the lottery in the wife department. We met at church. She taught children's ministry. I helped with the men's group. Standard church couple stuff. We got married young. I was 26, she was 25. Everyone said we were rushing it, but when you know, you know. The infertility thing came up about a year into marriage. We'd been trying, nothing was happening, so we got tested. Turns out I am infertile. Doctor said it wasn't impossible, just highly unlikely without medical intervention. Mallory seemed okay with it. Said she loved me regardless, that kids weren't everything, that God had a plan. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my wife. It was Christmas week. We were heading to her parents' place like we did every year. Her dad was this old-school conservative Christian type, former Marine, strict about everything, quoted scripture in normal conversation. Her mom was sweet but completely dominated by her husband. They lived 2 hours away in a small town where everyone knew everyone's business. The plan was to leave Friday morning, spend the weekend, come back Sunday after church. Simple. Except Thursday night, Mallory started feeling sick. I think I have the stomach bug, she said, curled up on the couch looking miserable. Maybe we should postpone. We should get you checked out, I said. Could be food poisoning or something worse. She shook her head. It's just a bug. I'll be fine by tomorrow. Mallory, you can barely stand up. I'm not missing Christmas with my family over some stomach thing, she said. My dad will be so disappointed if we don't show up. I didn't push it. Figured she knew her own body. But Friday morning she was worse. Throwing up, dizzy, barely able to stand. I wasn't asking this time. We're going to the hospital, I said. No, we need to leave for my parents' house. You can't even walk to the bathroom without holding onto the wall. We're going. But Christmas. Mallory, get in the car. She tried to argue but didn't have the energy. I loaded her up, drove to urgent care, sat in the waiting room for an hour while she got checked out. I was genuinely worried. My wife was sick and I wanted her to feel better. That's what you do when you love someone. The nurse called me back to the exam room. Mallory was sitting on the table looking pale but alert. The nurse was smiling this huge smile. Congratulations, she said. You're going to be a father. I blinked. What? Your wife is pregnant. About 6 weeks along. That's what's causing the nausea. The room tilted. I looked at Mallory. She was staring at me with this expression I couldn't read. That's not possible, I said. We can't have kids. I'm infertile. The nurse's smile faltered. Well, sometimes these things happen. The test is positive. She left us alone. Mallory's eyes filled with tears. We're pregnant, she whispered. Miracles are great and all, but when you've got a medical diagnosis saying your chances are basically zero and your wife suddenly turns up pregnant, you don't think of miracles. You think math, and the math wasn't adding up. We didn't go to her parents' place. I drove us home in complete silence. Mallory tried to talk a few times, but I shut her down. I needed to think. Needed to process what the heck was happening before I said something I couldn't take back. Got her settled on the couch with a bucket and some water. She was still looking green around the gills, which would have made me feel bad under normal circumstances. Right now, I just felt numb. How? I said, standing in the living room staring at her. How the heck are you pregnant when I can't have kids? She looked up at me with those big innocent eyes. It's a miracle. I laughed. Couldn't help it. Just this bitter, harsh sound that didn't sound like me at all. A miracle. You're serious right now. Yes, don't you see? God answered our prayers. After all this time, he gave us a baby. Mallory, I'm infertile. The doctor said, doctors don't know everything. God can do anything. This is a blessing. This is our miracle baby. The way she said it, so earnest, so convinced. Like she actually believed this garbage, or wanted me to believe it. So you're telling me, I said slowly, that you're the next Virgin Mary? That's the story we're going with? Her face changed. Just for a second, I saw something flash across it. Panic? Guilt? But then it was gone, replaced by righteous indignation. How dare you mock what God has done for us? I know this seems impossible, but that's what miracles are. The impossible made possible. Right. And it has nothing to do with anyone else. You haven't been with anyone else. Of course not. I'm your wife. I love you. This is our baby. She started crying. Full waterworks, trembling shoulders, the whole performance. We'll talk about this later, I said. When you're feeling better. She nodded, sniffling. Probably thought she'd won. Probably thought I was considering the miracle angle. I was considering something, all right. I was considering searching for the truth. Because here's the thing about being a religious guy who actually means it. I believe in miracles. I believe God can do the impossible. But I also believe that trust in God doesn't mean turn off your brain and ignore obvious lies. Faith isn't stupidity. And my wife was lying to me. I just needed to figure out who she was lying with. That night, after she'd gone to bed early claiming exhaustion, I sat in the living room planning my next move. My first instinct was to explode. Scream, throw things, demand the truth. But that's what she'd expect. That's what she was prepared for. Better to stay calm. Gather evidence. Let her think I was coming around to the miracle story while I built my case. She wanted to play games? Fine, I'd play. But when I made my move, she'd never see it coming. Mallory slept like the dead that night. Pregnancy hormones, probably. Or guilt. Either way, it gave me time to work. Her phone was charging on the nightstand. No passcode. She'd never needed one because we trusted each other. I picked it up and started scrolling. Text messages first. Most of it was boring. Her mom, her sister, friends from church. Group chats about Christmas parties and potlucks. Nothing suspicious. Then I checked her social media messages. Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger, the works. That's where I found it. A conversation with someone saved under church office. Clever. If I'd ever glanced at her phone and seen that name, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But these weren't office messages. I scrolled to the top, started reading. It went back months. Flirty messages that gradually got more explicit. Plans to meet up, complaints about their respective lives, and messages about me. Can't believe he actually bought the miracle baby story, one message read. I told him it was God's gift and he just nodded like a puppy. Dude's more trusting than I thought. The response, really sold it, huh? What did he say? Mallory. He looked confused for like 2 seconds. Then I started crying about faith and miracles. Boom, hook, line, and sinker. It's honestly sad how trusting he is. I sat there reading message after message, feeling something cold and hard forming in my chest. This wasn't just an affair. This was calculated. She'd been planning this whole thing, probably from the start. The person on the other end was just as bad. They talked about me like I was a joke, something to laugh about over their secret meetings. I found a message from 3 days ago. Can't wait to see you Friday? Same place? Mallory. Yeah, he'll be at work till 5. We'll have plenty of time. Friday. That was today. Well, technically yesterday now, since it was past midnight. I kept scrolling, looking for a name, anything to identify who this person was. They were careful, never used names in the messages. But I found something better. A photo Mallory had sent. Her in our bedroom, in lingerie I'd never seen before. The message with it. Bought this for you. Like it? The response was just fire emojis and, you're killing me. I saved screenshots of everything. Sent them to my email. Downloaded the photos. I wanted evidence. Hard evidence before I made my move. Then I found the smoking gun. A message from 2 weeks ago. Meet me at the usual spot tomorrow, 2 p.m. We need to talk about what we're going to do when he finds out. Mallory. He's not going to find out. Trust me. And even if he does, I've got it handled. Worst case, we tell him it's a miracle baby. He's religious enough to maybe buy it. And if he doesn't, then we do what we planned. I file for divorce, claim he was abusive or controlling or whatever. My dad will back me up. His family loves me. He'll be the bad guy no matter what. So there it was. The full plan laid out. Get pregnant, gaslight me with the miracle story, and if that failed, destroy my reputation and take half my stuff in the divorce. Except she didn't know about the prenup. We'd signed one before getting married at my dad's insistence. Mallory had been fine with it at the time, said she didn't care about money, just wanted to be with me. Now I understood why she signed so easily. She thought she'd manipulated me so thoroughly that I'd never enforce it. Wrong. I needed one more piece of information. I needed to know who this guy was. The messages mentioned a meeting place but never said where. I scrolled further back, looking for context clues. Found a message from 3 months ago. Can't do the park anymore. Too many people from church walk there. Let's switch to the coffee shop on 5th Street. There were only 2 coffee shops there. One was a chain, always crowded. The other was this quiet, independent place that barely got any business. I checked the next message about meeting up. Same place, 3 p.m. Mallory had responded, "Perfect. I'll park behind the building like usual." Behind the building, the independent coffee shop had a back lot. The chain didn't. I had my location. Now I just needed to catch them in the act. I put her phone back exactly where I found it and went to the guest room. Couldn't sleep next to her. Couldn't even look at her without wanting to lose it. But I didn't lose it. I stayed calm. Started planning. They thought I was too trusting, too religious, too stupid to figure it out. They were about to learn exactly how wrong they were. Monday morning, I called in sick to work. Told my boss I had a family emergency. Not technically a lie. Mallory thought I was at the office. I'd left the house at my normal time. I parked 3 blocks from the coffee shop and walked. Got there at 1:45 p.m., ordered a drink, sat at a table near the window with a clear view of the back lot. Brought a hat and sunglasses just in case, though I doubted they'd be looking for me. At 2 p.m. exactly, Mallory's car pulled into the back lot. She got out, looked around nervously, then headed inside through the back entrance. 5 minutes later, another car pulled in. I didn't recognize it at first. Then the driver got out and my brain short-circuited. Pastor Gideon, our pastor, the guy who'd married us 5 years ago, who'd counseled us through the infertility news, who'd prayed with us about starting a family. That sanctimonious piece of garbage was sleeping with my wife. He was maybe 45, graying at the temples, always wore this warm pastoral smile that made people trust him. Everyone loved him. And he was walking into that coffee shop to meet my pregnant wife for what I could only assume was either a celebration or a strategy session. I pulled out my phone and started taking photos. Him walking in, his car, his license plate, everything. They were inside for 45 minutes. I watched through the window. Couldn't see much, they were at a back table, but I saw enough. The way he touched her hand, the way she leaned in close, the way they looked at each other. When they left separately, Mallory first, then Gideon 10 minutes later, I had everything I needed. I sat in my car for a while, processing. 1,000 thoughts running through my head. My wife and my pastor. The hypocrisy was almost impressive. All those sermons about integrity and faithfulness and honoring your marriage. All those prayers about blessing our family. The rage hit me in waves. I wanted to drive to his house, kick down the door. But that was emotional. Sloppy. I needed to be smart. I drove straight to a lawyer's office. Showed him everything. The messages, the photos, the prenup. Told him about the pregnancy and the miracle baby story. He leaned back in his chair and whistled. This is one of the worst cases I've seen. And I've seen some doozies. We spent 2 hours going over everything. The prenup was solid. What's mine stayed mine. What's hers stayed hers. No alimony either way. Since we had no kids together and she'd been working part-time by choice, she had no claim to much. And the baby? Not legally mine since we weren't divorced yet. But I could petition for a paternity test. Once that came back negative, I'd owe nothing. My lawyer smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. She's going to lose everything. Good. I signed the papers. He filed them. By the time I got home, Mallory would be served within 48 hours. I got home at 5:30, my normal time. Mallory was in the kitchen making dinner, humming to herself. She looked happy, glowing even, probably thinking about her pastor boyfriend. "Hey, honey," she said when I walked in. "How was work?" Enlightening. She didn't catch the tone, just smiled and went back to chopping vegetables. I pulled out my phone. "Hey, Mallory, got a question for you." "Yeah? Who's this?" I showed her the photo. Her and Gideon through the coffee shop window. His hand on hers. The color drained from her face. That's not what it looks like." "Really? Because it looks like you and Pastor Gideon having a cozy little meeting. Same Pastor Gideon who's been texting you for months. Same Pastor Gideon who's the father of your miracle baby." She put down the knife. "You went through my phone." "Yeah. Found some interesting stuff. Want to hear my favorite part? Where you called me pathetic and trusting. Or maybe the part where you planned to claim I was abusive if I figured out you were cheating. I can explain." "Don't. I don't want to hear it. I filed for divorce today. You'll be served tomorrow or Wednesday. Prenup's in effect. So you're getting exactly nothing from me. And that baby you're carrying? We're doing a paternity test. When it proves it's not mine, you get nothing for that either." She stared at me like I'd slapped her. Then the tears started. "Please, we can work through this. It was a mistake. I love you. Pack your stuff and get out." "You can't kick me out. This is my house too." "Actually, check the deed. House is in my name. Bought before we got married. Prenup says it stays mine. So yeah, I can kick you out. You've got 1 hour." She switched tactics. Started yelling, screaming that I was evil, that I was abandoning a pregnant woman, that God would punish me. God's not punishing me, I said. He's giving me clarity. You and Gideon can go play house somewhere else. You're not doing it here. You're a terrible person, she screamed. A monster. Everyone's going to know what you did. I'll tell everyone you forced me out. My father is going to make you pay for this. Tell whoever you want. I've got evidence of everything. Pictures, texts, all of it. You want to play victim? Go ahead. I'll show everyone exactly what kind of victim you really are. She started throwing things, grabbed a plate and hurled it at my head. I ducked. It shattered against the wall. Real mature, I said. You've got 55 minutes now. She screamed one more time, then ran upstairs. I heard her slamming drawers, throwing stuff around. Didn't care. Started boxing up anything of hers I found in the common areas. Her books, her decorations, her collection of ceramic angels she'd bought at church sales. 45 minutes later, she came down with 2 suitcases, mascara running down her face, hair a mess, looking like the world was ending. You're going to regret this, she hissed. Only thing I regret is marrying you. She left. Peeled out of the driveway so fast, she left rubber on the concrete. I watched her go, then locked the door behind her. Sat on the couch in my suddenly quiet house. My phone buzzed. Text from Mallory. This isn't over. That baby is yours and you'll pay for abandoning us. I texted back. Get a paternity test. Prove it. She didn't respond. Good. Let her stew. Mallory's dad showed up Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I was having coffee on the porch when his truck screeched up. He jumped out looking like he wanted blood. I stayed seated. Didn't move. Just watched him charge up the walkway. You kicked my pregnant daughter out of her home, he roared before he even hit the steps. His finger jabbed toward my face. What kind of coward does that? The kind whose wife cheated on him with the pastor. That stopped him. His face went purple. That's a lie. Is it? Come inside. I'll show you. He took a step closer. Got right in my space. I could smell the rage coming off him. His fists were shaking. You better not be playing games with me, boy. I will put you through that wall. Come look at the proof. Or don't. Your choice. He followed me inside, breathing hard. Kept crowding me. Making sure I knew one wrong word and he'd snap. His knuckles were white from clenching so hard. I pulled up the screenshots on my laptop. Turned the screen toward him. Read. He stared at me for a long second. Then looked down. Started reading. I watched his face change from fury to confusion to disgust. His jaw worked like he was chewing glass. Took him about 10 minutes to go through everything. The texts, the photos, the timeline. When he finished, he just stood there staring at the screen. That's Pastor Gideon, he said finally. Voice dead. Yep, the man who baptized my grandchildren. Yep, and my daughter. Has been sleeping with him for at least 6 months. The baby's his, not mine. I'm infertile. Medical records prove it. Her father sat down heavily on my couch. Looked like someone had cut his legs out from under him. She told me you threw her out for no reason. Said you were being cruel, controlling. She lied. She's been lying to everyone. He put his head in his hands. Sat like that for a full minute. Then he stood up, jaw set like stone. I need to go. Yeah. He walked to the door, stopped, turned back. I'm sorry for coming here like that. For almost, he shook his head. For believing her without asking your side. Appreciate it. She's my daughter. But this, he gestured at the laptop. This is wrong. What she did is wrong. He left. Didn't peel out like Mallory. Just drove away slowly, like a man heading to do something he dreaded, but had to do anyway. 2 hours later, my phone exploded. Call from Mallory, screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. You're a monster! You showed my dad? He kicked me out and disowned me because of you. His own daughter because of your lies. They're not lies. They're screenshots. Your own words. You twisted everything. Took it out of context. Mallory, you literally said you bought lingerie for another man. What context makes that okay? I was confused. Hormonal. Going through a hard time. Hard enough to cheat with our pastor, but not hard enough to tell me the truth. That baby is yours. I swear to God. Don't swear to God. You've already lied to him enough. Get the paternity test or shut up. She dissolved into hysterical crying. Told me I'd ruined her life. Destroyed her family. Turned her own father against her. You did that yourself, I said. I just showed him the truth. My dad won't even look at me. He told me I'm not welcome at Christmas. My own father. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I hate you. I hope you rot. Cool. Sign the divorce papers when they arrive. I hung up. Blocked her number. If she wanted to communicate, she could go through lawyers. But I wasn't done. Not even close. See, the thing about me, I understand the importance of community. Church isn't just a Sunday thing for me. It's where I've built relationships, found mentors, grown in my faith, and Pastor Gideon had violated all of that. Used his position to seduce a married woman, lied to everyone, preached about integrity while living in sin. That couldn't stand. Saturday night, I emailed the church board. No commentary, just a file. Text logs, photos, phone metadata. Let the evidence speak. Margaret, the head elder, called me early the next morning. Asked if I could come to their board meeting later that morning. Sunday morning at 9 sharp, I showed up. "We want to hear it directly from you," she said, gesturing to the empty chair. I laid out the timeline, answered their questions. No drama, just the truth hitting harder than anything I could have screamed. "Gideon's been having an affair with my wife Mallory for the past 6 months. Here's the evidence." The room went dead silent. They picked up the photos one by one. Hotel receipts, text messages, timeline of dates. Everything laid out clean and factual. One of the men looked sick. "This can't be real." "It's real. Check the metadata on the photos if you want. Check the phone records. It's all there." The older woman's face had gone pale. "Pastor Gideon wouldn't." "He did. And she's pregnant. Claims it's mine, but the dates don't match. She was with him during her fertile window." Before anyone could respond, the door opened. One of the female elders walked in, probably heard raised voices. She saw the photos spread across the table and froze. "What's going on here?" "Pastor Gideon had an affair with my wife," I said flatly. Her eyes widened. Then she shook her head. No, this is wrong. You can't just come in here and destroy a man's reputation like this." "I'm not destroying anything. He did that himself." "This is evil," she said, voice rising. "Exposing him publicly, humiliating him, ruining his career over one mistake. Where's your forgiveness? Where's your grace?" I looked at her. "You called a woman a homewrecker last year when she divorced her abusive husband. Told everyone she destroyed her family. But now Pastor Gideon deserves grace?" Her face flushed red. "That was different." "How?" "She left for selfish reasons. This is about your pastor sleeping with my wife in the church parking lot, in hotels, while preaching about marriage every Sunday. Don't talk to me about grace." Another man spoke up, one of the younger elders. "With all due respect, he's right. This isn't about forgiveness. This is about accountability. Pastor Gideon used his position, used religion, to justify an affair. That's manipulation. That's abuse of power. He's the one in the wrong here, not this man." The woman who defended Gideon glared at the younger elder. "You're going to side with him over our pastor?" "I'm siding with the truth. Look at the evidence. It's right there." She looked around the table, seeing no support. "You're all making a mistake." She stormed out. I turned back to the elders. "I'm not here for revenge. I'm here because people deserve to know who they're following. You want to keep a liar in the pulpit, that's on you. But I'm not keeping quiet about it." The older woman finally spoke. "We need to talk to Pastor Gideon. Do what you need to do. I've said my piece." I left. Didn't wait around for the meeting or the fallout. They called Gideon in that afternoon. By Monday, the board had voted. 10-2 for termination. He was out. The woman who defended him and one other elder voted to keep him. Everyone else saw it for what it was. His life fell apart fast. Evidence went public through the church community. Other affairs came to light. Turned out Mallory wasn't the first, just the one who got caught. Gideon lost everything. His job, his reputation, his standing in the community. Tried to get hired at another church 2 states over. They searched him online, found the scandal, passed. Last I heard, he was working retail, living in a studio apartment. His family back home wouldn't talk to him. The congregation he'd led for years wanted nothing to do with him. The church itself stayed strong. The leadership brought in an interim pastor, someone older and more grounded. They handled it right, addressed what happened, held people accountable, and moved forward. The congregation appreciated the honesty. If anything, attendance went up after a few months. People respected the leadership that actually led. The elder who defended Gideon eventually left, couldn't handle being the only one who defended him. Joined another church across town where nobody knew the story. Mallory kept trying to reach me. Through mutual friends, through new phone numbers, through email. Always the same message. "Please talk to me. Please give me another chance. The baby is yours." I ignored all of it. Let my lawyer handle communication. Judge Morrison looked over the paternity results, then spoke. "These tests are conclusive. There is no biological relationship between Mr. Thompson and the child." Mallory sat at the defendant's table, several months pregnant now, one hand resting protectively on her belly. Her lawyer stood. "Your Honor, We'd like to request another test. The judge held up a hand. Unless you're submitting evidence of fraud or tampering, the results stand. He sat down without another word. The court finds the prenuptial agreement to be valid and enforceable, she continued. No support is owed. Divorce is granted. Mrs. Thompson, is there anything you'd like to say? Mallory stood up, tears streaming down her face. I made a mistake, but that doesn't mean I don't love my husband. We can work through this. I know we can. The paternity test shows the child isn't his. But it could be. Sometimes these tests are wrong. They're 99.9% accurate. That's not 100%. The judge closed the file. Mrs. Thompson, you're grasping at straws. The evidence is clear. You had an affair. You became pregnant by another man. You tried to pass the child off as your husband's. The prenuptial agreement is enforceable. You're entitled to nothing from Mr. Thompson's estate. This divorce is granted. She banged the gavel. Mallory collapsed in her chair, sobbing. Her lawyer looked frustrated. I felt nothing. Outside the courtroom, my lawyer shook my hand. Clean sweep. You're officially free. Thanks. Mallory came out a few minutes later, supported by her sister. She saw me and her face twisted with rage. You're going to regret this, she screamed. God will punish you. God's not punishing me, Mallory. He's setting me free. Her sister pulled her away before she could say anything else. I walked to my car, drove home, sat in the driveway for a few minutes just breathing. It was over. Finally over. The divorce was final. The truth was out. Mallory and Gideon had both lost everything. Their reputations, their positions, their families. And I had my life back. 6 months later, I was in a different place. I'd switched churches, found a smaller church across town. Real people. Genuine faith. No pretense. The kind of place where they actually meant it when they talked about grace and truth. Where accountability mattered as much as forgiveness. I'd started serving there. Nothing fancy, just helping with setup on Sundays and volunteering for community outreach. It felt good to be part of something real again. That's where I met Delaney. She'd moved to town a few months ago for work. Quiet, kind, one of those people who actually listened when you talked. We ended up on the same volunteer team for a community food drive. Started talking. Found out we had a lot in common. We'd been seeing each other for about 2 months now. Nothing serious yet. Taking it slow. Both of us had been burned before. She was divorced too. No kids. Similar story of betrayal and rebuilding. We understood each other. It was a Saturday afternoon. Delaney was coming over for dinner. I'd actually learned to cook in the past 6 months. Turns out having time to yourself when you're not managing someone else's drama means you can pick up new skills. I was prepping food when the doorbell rang. Weird. Delaney wasn't supposed to be here for another hour. I opened the door. Mallory. She looked different. Thinner. Hair pulled back. No makeup. Eyes red like she'd been crying. Hey, she said quietly. What are you doing here? I needed to talk to you. Please. Just 5 minutes. Every instinct told me to close the door, but I was curious. Fine. 5 minutes. She came inside, looked around at the changes I'd made. New furniture. New paint. I'd basically erased every trace of her from the house. The baby, she started, then stopped. Took a breath. I lost the baby. 6 months ago. Miscarriage. I didn't say anything. Didn't know what to say. It was awful. I was alone. Gideon wanted nothing to do with me. My family barely talks to me. I had no one. Mallory? But then I realized, this is a sign. From God. Don't you see? I wasn't supposed to have that baby. It was a mistake. But now we can be together again. Start over. The way we were supposed to. I stared at her. You can't be serious. I am. God removed the obstacle. We can have our marriage back. Have our life back. This is our second chance. No. Please, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I've changed. I've grown. I see now what I lost. What we had was special. What we had was a lie. No, it wasn't. The first 5 years were real. They were good. We can have that again. Mallory, your 5 minutes are up. You need to leave. She grabbed my arm. Hard. I'm not leaving. Not until you understand. I gave up everything for you. 5 years of my life. I deserve another chance. You gave up nothing. You took everything and threw it away for some guy you barely knew. Now let go of my arm. She didn't. Her grip tightened. I'm begging you. Please, I have nothing left. No job, no money. My parents won't even look at me. Gideon moved away. You're all I have. That's not my problem anymore. Her face twisted. Something dark flashed in her eyes. You owe me. I was faithful to you for 5 years. One mistake doesn't erase that. One mistake? You got pregnant with another man's child while we were married. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Now get out. The doorbell rang. Mallory looked at the door, then at me. Are you expecting someone? Yeah. I opened the door. Delaney stood there with a bottle of grape juice and a smile. She saw Mallory and her smile faltered. Oh, sorry. Should I come back? No, I said. Come in. Mallory was just leaving. Mallory's eyes went wide. Who is this? Delaney, my girlfriend. The look on Mallory's face went from shock to rage in about 2 seconds. She turned on Delaney. You're a homewrecker, Mallory shouted at Delaney. You're destroying what God wants to rebuild. He'll punish you for this. Both of you. Mallory, I said calmly. Leave. Now. I was his wife. We had a life together. Had. Past tense. Now you need to go. You can't throw me away like this. God brought me back here for a reason. Yeah, to show me I made the right choice. Mallory's hands balled into fists. She took a step toward Delaney. You think you can just waltz in and take what's mine? I'll make you regret it. I'll make both of you regret this. I moved between them. That's enough. Get out before I call the cops. Call them! Tell them you're keeping me from my own house. This was my home. This was never your home. You lost that right when you cheated on me. Last warning, Mallory. She lunged at Delaney. I caught her by the shoulders and held her back. She was screaming now, clawing at my arms, trying to get past me. I'll destroy you! I'll burn this whole thing down! You can't do this to me! Delaney had backed into the corner, eyes wide, phone in her hand. Delaney, call 911, I said. She heard that and lost it completely. Started swinging at me, caught me on the jaw with her elbow. I grabbed both her wrists and held her at arm's length while she kicked and screamed about God's punishment and how I'd stolen her future. The whole thing felt surreal. Cops showed up 8 minutes later. By then, Mallory had worn herself out and was just crying on my front porch. They took statements from all three of us, escorted her off the property, gave me a case number. Delaney left shortly after, said she needed time to process. Can't say I blamed her. That was a lot for a fourth date. Monday morning, I filed for a restraining order. The judge granted it same day after hearing about the threats and the physical altercation. Mallory was ordered to stay at least 500 feet away from me, my home, and my workplace. She violated it twice in the first week, showed up at my office building, sent me 37 text messages from a burner phone. Each violation added to her file. The restraining order hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Mallory showed up without a lawyer, still convinced she could talk her way back into my life, told the judge God had spoken to her, that we were meant to be together, that Delaney was a temptation sent by the devil. The judge extended the restraining order for 3 years. Mallory screamed at me on her way out of the courtroom, said I'd never find happiness, that karma would catch up to me, that God would make me pay. I just nodded to the bailiff and walked out. Some bridges don't just get burned, they get napalmed. And honestly, I was fine with that. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.